The galaxy was vast, infinite in its sprawl, and teeming with civilizations that had long since mastered the art of traversing stars. Among these countless worlds, there existed one planet, an insignificant blue speck orbiting a middling star that served as little more than a punchline to interstellar jokes. That planet was Earth. Dr. Elena Voss sat slumped in her chair, staring at the holographic display projected above her desk. It showed the latest transmission from the Galactic Council, a coalition of advanced alien races who governed much of known space. Her eyes burned not just from lack of sleep, but also from the sheer indignation coursing through her veins. The Council's words echoed in her mind like nails scraping against metal. Earth, the ambassador had sneered during the broadcast, his voice dripping with condescension, is a chaotic anomaly among civilized worlds, a primitive species struggling to survive amidst internal strife, environmental collapse, and rudimentary attempts at space exploration. Truly, it is remarkable how such creatures persist. His laughter rang out across the assembly hall, joined by others seated around him. Dozens of alien dignitaries chuckled, their multicolored skin shimmering under the artificial light, their appendages gesturing dismissively. To them, humanity wasn't even worthy of serious discussion. It was entertainment, a curiosity best left ignored until it inevitably destroyed itself. Elena clenched her fists, her knuckles turning white. She hated this feeling, the helplessness, the anger, the gnawing sense of inadequacy. But she couldn't deny the truth behind the ambassador's words. Humanity was divided, plagued by wars over resources, ideologies, and power. Their planet groaned under the weight of pollution, deforestation, and climate change. And yes, their attempts at reaching beyond their solar system were laughable compared to the warp drives and wormhole networks used by other species. But what the aliens failed to see, and what Elena refused to accept, was that humanity wasn't defined by its failures. It was defined by its resilience, by its unyielding determination to push forward no matter the odds. And if they thought Earth would simply roll over and die, they were about to learn otherwise. The transmission heard around the world, the ambassador's speech didn't stay confined to the sterile halls of the Galactic Council. Within hours, it had been intercepted and broadcast across every corner of Earth. News outlets replayed the footage endlessly, accompanied by commentary from pundits, politicians, and scientists. Social media erupted into chaos, with hashtags like Earth Will Rise and Not Primitive trending globally. In New York City, protests erupted outside the United Nations headquarters. Thousands gathered holding signs that read, "We are not inferior and stand up for Earth." Some chanted slogans, others wept openly, their pride wounded by the insult hurled from light years away. In Tokyo, hackers retaliated by infiltrating the ambassador's ship's communication systems, flooding its internal network with memes mocking his appearance. Meanwhile, in rural Africa, tribal elders convened beneath starlit skies, debating whether the aliens' mockery was an omen or simply another challenge to overcome. Amidst the cacophony, governments scrambled to respond. Emergency sessions were called at the UN, NATO, ASEAN, and other international bodies. Military leaders reviewed contingency plans for potential alien aggression, though most privately admitted they were woefully unprepared. Scientists, too, convened in secret summits, brainstorming ways to accelerate technological development. It was during one such summit that Elena found herself thrust into the spotlight. As a leading physicist specializing in quantum energy manipulation, she had spent years researching methods to harness Earth's natural forces, storms, tectonic shifts, even solar flares, for practical applications. Her work had always been theoretical, dismissed as impractical or dangerous. Now, however, it seemed eerily relevant. "Dr. Voss," said General Marcus Kane, a grizzled veteran tasked with coordinating Earth's response, "we need solutions, not theories. Can your research be weaponized?" Elena hesitated. Weaponizing nature went against everything she believed in, yet the question lingered, gnawing at her conscience. If humanity wanted to survive, to thrive, It needed tools capable of deterring those who sought to exploit or destroy it. Slowly, she nodded. "I think so," she replied. "But it won't be easy, and it will require cooperation on a scale we've never seen before. A fragile alliance, cooperation, unfortunately, did not come easily." Despite the existential threat posed by the aliens' disdain, humanity remained fractured along political, cultural, and economic lines. Some nations advocated for peaceful diplomacy, hoping to win respect through negotiation and goodwill. Others pushed for aggressive militarization, arguing that strength alone could deter future insults. Corporate interests complicated matters further, with megacorporations vying for control over any breakthrough technologies developed in response to the crisis. Elena found herself caught in the middle of these competing factions. On one side stood the idealists led by Dr. Raj Patel, a soft-spoken biologist who believed humanity should focus on healing its wounds rather than preparing for war. On the other side loomed the pragmatists, spearheaded by billionaire industrialist Victor Langstrom, whose empire spanned defense contractors and aerospace firms. Each group approached Elena with promises of funding, resources, and influence, but each demanded loyalty in return. Ultimately, Elena chose neither. Instead, she rallied a small team of like-minded individuals, scientists, engineers, and visionaries, who shared her belief in using Earth's natural forces responsibly. Together, they established Project Gaia, a covert initiative aimed at developing prototype weapons powered by quantum energy manipulation. Their first breakthrough came months later, deep within a secure facility buried beneath the Nevada desert. Using a combination of superconductors and crystalline matrices, Elena's team successfully harnessed a localized storm, channeling its energy into a controlled blast that obliterated a target several kilometers away. The test was imperfect. The process consumed massive amounts of power, and the resulting feedback nearly fried their equipment, but it proved the concept worked. As the team celebrated their success, Elena felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps humanity wasn't doomed after all. Perhaps it could stand up to the mockery of the stars. Whispers beneath the ice. While Project Gaia progressed in secrecy, strange reports began emerging from Antarctica. Satellite imagery revealed unusual heat signatures emanating from beneath the ice sheet, suggesting geothermal activity far beyond normal parameters. Expedition teams dispatched to investigate returned with fragments of a crystalline material unlike anything ever documented. Elena examined the samples in her lab, her heart racing as she analyzed their properties. Embedded within the crystals were patterns resembling neural pathways, almost as if they contained some form of consciousness. When exposed to electrical currents, the crystals emitted faint pulses, as though attempting to communicate. One night, working late in the lab, Elena activated the largest crystal fragment. Suddenly her mind filled with visions, swirling oceans, towering mountains, lush forests, all overlaid with a single resounding message: "Protect me."
Stunned, Elena realized she was communicating with something ancient, something vast, something that called itself Gaia. Gaia spoke of a time when Earth had thrived without interference, when life flourished in harmony. It described how humanity's
actions had disrupted this balance, yet acknowledged the potential for redemption. If humans were willing to restore equilibrium, Gaia offered to share its power, not just to defend Earth but to ensure its survival. Tears streamed down Elena's face as she grasped the implications. This wasn't just a scientific discovery, it was a call to action. With Gaia's help, humanity might have a chance to silence its critics and prove once and for all that Earth was not a laughingstock. A spark ignites. By the time news of the Antarctic findings reached global leaders, tensions between humanity and the galactic powers had escalated. Alien probes appeared in Earth's orbit, ostensibly conducting scientific research. Their presence raised suspicions, especially when seismic disturbances hinted at unauthorized mining operations near critical asteroid belts. Fearing the Yi-Do. Worst, Elena presented her findings to a select group of world leaders. Though skeptical at first, they couldn't ignore the evidence. Gaia was real. and it represented humanity's best hope for survival. Reluctantly, they agreed to support Project Gaia, funneling unprecedented resources into its development. As preparations continued, Elena knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. Divided loyalties, ethical dilemmas, and the ever-present threat of alien intervention loomed large. But one thing was certain: Earth would no longer cower in the shadow of cosmic disdain. The time had come to fight back. The crystalline artifact found beneath Antarctica was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Its surface shimmered with iridescent hues, shifting colors depending on the angle of light, or perhaps the observer's intent. For weeks after its discovery, scientists debated whether it was natural or artificial, alive or inert. But one thing was clear: it pulsed faintly, almost rhythmically, like a heartbeat synchronized with Earth itself. Dr. Elena Voss stood in her lab, staring at the fragment encased in a containment field. Her team had nicknamed it the Heartstone, though no one truly understood what it represented. What they did know was that it emitted energy readings consistent with quantum fluctuations, patterns eerily similar to those observed during their earlier experiments with weather manipulation. Could this be the key to unlocking Project Gaia's full potential? Elena hesitated before activating the device again. Last time, she'd experienced visions so vivid they bordered on hallucination. Yet something about those images called to her a sense of purpose, of destiny. Taking a deep breath, she placed her hands on the control panel and initiated the sequence. The room dimmed as power surged through the system. The Heartstone glowed brighter, casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the walls. Then, without warning, Elena felt her mind flood with sensations. Not just visuals, but emotions, memories, and whispers from an age-long past. She saw oceans stretching endlessly under starlit skies, continents forming and breaking apart over millennia. She witnessed life blooming in vibrant bursts of color, evolving from single-celled organisms to complex ecosystems. And then came humanity. Tiny, fragile creatures who spread across the land, building cities, waging wars, and reshaping the planet in ways both beautiful and destructive. Amidst these visions, a voice emerged, soft yet commanding. "You are my children. You have strayed, but you can still protect me." Elena gasped, stumbling back from the console. Her colleagues rushed to her side, concern etched on their faces. "Are you okay?" asked Dr. Raj Patel, his brow furrowed. I think I spoke with it," Elena stammered, her voice trembling. "It's not just an object, it's alive. It calls itself Gaia." Communion with Gaia. Over the following days, Elena became the conduit between humanity and Gaia. Through repeated interactions with the Heartstone, she pieced together fragments of the entity's consciousness. Gaia revealed itself as an ancient intelligence born from Earth's core, a sentient force that had guided the planet's evolution since its inception. Over millions of years, it had watched silently as species rose and fell, intervening only when necessary to maintain balance. But now, Gaia explained, humanity's unchecked exploitation of resources and disregard for ecological harmony threatened the planet's stability. If left unchecked, Earth would spiral into ruin, taking all life, including humans, with it. However, Gaia offered a solution. If humanity pledged to restore balance and protect the planet, it would share its immense power. "What kind of power?" Elena asked during one such communion. "The power to heal and defend," Gaia replied, "to harness storms, quakes, and tides, to wield the fury of nature against those who seek to harm us." Elena relayed this message to her team, who were initially skeptical. "You're saying we can turn hurricanes into weapons?" asked Victor Langstrom, the billionaire industrialist funding much of Project Gaia. His tone was equal parts disbelief and excitement. "It's not just about destruction," Elena countered. "Gaia wants us to use its power responsibly, to defend Earth while repairing the damage we've done." Despite lingering doubts, the prospect of wielding such capabilities proved irresistible. Under Elena's leadership, the team began integrating Gaia's energy signatures into their existing prototypes. The results exceeded even their wildest expectations. Testing the Alliance, in a remote desert region chosen for its isolation, humanity conducted its first large-scale test of Gaia-enhanced technology. A massive array of satellites positioned in low orbit directed solar energy toward a network of ground-based emitters. These devices, powered by the Hearthstone, amplified the incoming radiation and channeled it into a localized storm system. As the experiment commenced, dark clouds gathered rapidly above the barren landscape. Lightning crackled across the sky, illuminating the horizon with blinding flashes. Winds howled at hurricane speeds, whipping sand into towering vortexes. Finally, a bolt of lightning struck a designated target, a reinforced bunker designed to simulate an enemy stronghold, obliterating it instantly. The team erupted into cheers as data streamed in from monitoring stations. Not only had they successfully weaponized nature, but they had done so with pinpoint precision. No collateral damage, no unintended consequences, just raw, focused power. Yet amidst the celebration, Elena couldn't shake a growing unease. "This is incredible," she admitted to Raj, "but using Gaia's energy isn't free. Every time we activate it, we're drawing directly from the planet. If we push too far, we risk destabilizing entire ecosystems." Raj nodded gravely. "And what happens if others find out? Imagine the chaos if every nation tried to tap into this power." Elena sighed. "We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now, we need to focus on protecting Earth and proving to the galaxy that we're not helpless." Shart, alien provocation escalates. While humanity prepared for potential conflict, events beyond Earth's atmosphere took a darker turn. The alien probes detected near asteroid belts months earlier had multiplied, their numbers swelling into a veritable fleet. Cloaked ships drifted ominously close to Earth's orbit, scanning the planet with advanced sensors. Despite official denials, their intentions seemed clear: reconnaissance for future exploitation. Tensions reached a boiling point when several asteroids critical to Earth's gravitational stability suddenly shifted course. Scientists traced the disturbances back to mining operations conducted by the aliens. Fragments of rock spiraled toward Earth's atmosphere, threatening catastrophic impacts. Public outcry erupted as governments scrambled to respond. Emergency protocols were activated and evacuation plans drafted. Meanwhile, conspiracy theories spread like wildfire, accusing certain nations of collaborating with the invaders. Trust eroded further as factions within humanity argued over whether to retaliate or negotiate. Elena watched these developments with mounting frustration. "They're testing us," she told her team, "seeing how far they can push before we fight back. Well, let's show them we're not afraid." With General Kane's approval, Elena authorized a preemptive strike using Gaia-enhanced technology. Satellites redirected solar energy toward the nearest alien probe, creating a focused electromagnetic pulse, EMP. The blast disabled the ship's systems, forcing it to retreat. News of the successful counterattack spread quickly, reigniting hope among Earth's population. For the first time, humanity struck back against its oppressors, and won. But the victory came at a cost. Data intercepted from the probe revealed chilling details. The aliens viewed Earth not as a threat, but as a resource-rich prize ripe for conquest. Their disdain had morphed into determination, and they wouldn't stop until they claimed what they believed was rightfully theirs. Divided loyalties, as word of Gaia's awakening spread, divisions within humanity deepened. Some hailed the discovery as a miracle, proof that Earth was destined for greatness. Others feared the implications, warning that merging human ambition with planetary consciousness could lead to disaster. Religious groups decried the project as blasphemous, claiming Gaia was either a false idol or a harbinger of doom. Corporate interests added fuel to the fire. Megacorporations vied for access to Gaia's technology, lobbying governments to privatize Project Gaia. Meanwhile, rogue states attempted to replicate the experiments independently, sparking fears of uncontrolled environmental devastation. Even within Elena's team, cracks began to form. Raj grew increasingly uneasy about the ethical ramifications of weaponizing nature. "We're playing God," he argued during one heated meeting. "What gives us the right to decide who lives and dies?" Victor Langstrom dismissed such concerns as naive idealism. "Survival isn't pretty," he shot back. "If we don't take the fight to them, they'll crush us." End of story. Caught between these opposing viewpoints, Elena struggled to maintain unity. She knew that humanity's greatest strength lay in cooperation, but also that fear and greed could tear it apart. 6. Foreshadowing. Greater conflict. Despite the challenges, humanity pressed forward, refining its newfound abilities and preparing for war. Satellite networks expanded, linking Earth's defenses into a cohesive global shield. Underground bunkers, converted into command centers, housing teams trained to interface with Gaia's energy matrix. Yet as preparations intensified, ominous signs hinted at greater trials ahead. Seismic activity increased worldwide, triggering earthquakes and volcanic eruptions along fault lines previously considered dormant. Ocean currents shifted unpredictably, causing floods in coastal regions. Many wondered whether these phenomena were natural, or if Gaia itself was reacting to humanity's actions. One night, as Elena communed with the Heartstone, Gaia delivered a cryptic warning: "Your enemies approach. Be ready. And remember, unity is your greatest weapon." When she relayed this message to her team, silence filled the room. Whatever awaited them, it was clear that Earth's awakening had awakened. Something else. A reckoning that would test humanity's resolve like never before. The alien coalition had underestimated Earth, and now they paid the price. After months of escalating provocations, mining operations destabilizing asteroid belts, cloaked ships probing Earth's defenses, and cryptic transmissions mocking humanity's defiance, the invaders made their move. A massive fleet entered Earth's solar system, broadcasting an ultimatum: surrender unconditionally or face annihilation. Humanity refused to yield. Under General Marcus Kane's command, Elena Voss coordinated humanity's first large-scale offensive using Gaia-enhanced technology. Satellites redirected solar energy into a network of orbital emitters, amplifying it with the Heartstone's quantum resonance. Within minutes, hurricane-force winds erupted in space, forming a swirling maelstrom around the alien armada. Lightning, bolts crackled across the void, striking multiple ships and disabling their shields. On Earth, news networks broadcast live footage of the battle. Billions watched as colossal storms materialized out of nowhere, engulfing alien vessels like insects. Caught in a spider's web, cheers erupted worldwide as several ships exploded under the relentless assault, their wreckage scattering across the cosmos. But the victory was bittersweet. Even as humanity celebrated its triumph, casualties mounted. Alien counterattacks targeted Earth's satellites, crippling portions of the global defense grid. Power grids faltered, plunging cities into darkness. Refugees fled coastal areas as tidal waves triggered by tectonic shifts devastated entire regions. Elena stared at the chaos unfolding on her monitors, guilt gnawing at her insides. "We're fighting fire with fire," she murmured to Raj Patel, who stood beside her. "But every time we use Gaia's power, we risk burning ourselves." Raj nodded grimly. "This isn't just about winning anymore, it's about surviving what comes after." Divided loyalties on Earth as the battle raged beyond Earth's atmosphere. Internal divisions worsened. Governments clashed over resource allocation, accusing each other of hoarding supplies meant for global defense. Corporations exploited the crisis, hiking prices for food, water, and medical supplies. Protests erupted in cities worldwide, with citizens demanding answers and accountability from their leaders. Some factions opposed Project Gaia outright, viewing it as reckless meddling with forces beyond human comprehension. Religious extremists claimed Gaia was punishing humanity for its hubris, pointing to natural disasters as divine retribution. Others whispered of betrayal, alleging that certain nations had secretly collaborated with the aliens to gain favor. Amidst this turmoil, Victor Langstrom emerged as a polarizing figure. Leveraging his wealth and influence, he positioned himself as humanity's savior, promising to fund new technologies capable of countering the alien threat. But his motives remained suspect. Elena suspected he sought not salvation but control over Gaia's power and, by extension, Earth itself. "You can't trust him," Elena warned General Kane during a tense briefing. "Langstrom doesn't care about protecting Earth, he cares about profit." "And you think I do?" Kane shot back, his voice laced with frustration. "I'm trying to keep us alive, Dr. Voss. If Langstrom's money buys us time, I'll take it." Elena clenched her fists, biting back a retort. She knew Kane was right, but trusting Langstrom felt like signing a deal with the devil. Escalation across the stars, the initial skirmish only delayed the inevitable. Emboldened by their earlier success, humanity launched a second wave of attacks, targeting key alien strongholds in nearby star systems. Using Gaia-powered mecha suits piloted by elite soldiers, strike teams infiltrated enemy bases, sabotaging mining operations and destroying supply depots. Each victory bolstered morale, but also drew retaliatory strikes. Alien fleets regrouped, deploying advanced weaponry humanity had never encountered. Plasma cannons vaporized entire city blocks. Gravity disruptors flattened mountains. Casualties soared, and panic spread as people realized the full extent of the invaders' capabilities. Through it all, Elena maintained a fragile balance between hope and despair. Her nightly communions with Gaia grew more intense, the entity's presence filling her mind with both reassurance and dread. "You must unite," Gaia urged during one such session. "Your strength lies in cooperation. Without it, you will fall." Elena relayed this message to world leaders, imploring them to set aside their differences. But old rivalries proved stubborn. Nations hoarded resources, prioritizing their survival over collective action. Even allies turned against each other, accusing one another of betrayal. Despair began to creep in. Was unity truly possible? Or was humanity doomed to repeat its mistakes? Foreshadowing sacrifice. Despite the mounting challenges, humanity continued innovating. Scientists developed new applications for Gaia's energy, creating adaptive shielding, capable of repelling alien projectiles and self-repairing structures to rebuild damaged infrastructure. Engineers constructed colossal orbital platforms armed with planet-wide defensive systems, turning Earth into a fortress. But these advancements came at a cost. Natural disasters intensified as Gaia's energy matrix strained under constant use. Volcanoes erupted unpredictably, spewing ash into the atmosphere and plunging regions into prolonged winters. Forests burned, oceans boiled, and wildlife populations plummeted. Environmentalists accused Elena and her team of hastening Earth's destruction rather than saving it. One night, as Elena interfaced with the Heartstone, Gaia delivered a chilling revelation. "To unlock my full potential, a sacrifice is required." "What kind of sacrifice?" Elena asked, dread pooling in her stomach. "A life for a life," Gaia replied. "Yours." Elena staggered back, breaking contact with the artifact. Her heart pounded as she processed the implications. She had always known working with Gaia carried risks, but this? Giving up her life to save billions? "I won't let you die," Raj said firmly when she confided in him. "There has to be another way." "There isn't," Elena replied softly. "If merging with Gaia is the only way to stop them, then so be it." 5. Preparing for the final battle. As the alien coalition prepared for its final assault, humanity braced itself for what promised to be the most devastating battle in its history. Orbital defenses were fortified, evacuation plans finalized, and last-ditch efforts launched to rally fractured nations under a single banner. Elena worked tirelessly, fine-tuning the integration of Gaia's consciousness with Earth's technological grid. Each step brought her closer to the moment of truth, the moment when she would merge completely with the planetary intelligence. Victor Langstrom approached her one evening, offering a proposition. "Let me handle the merger," he said, his tone unusually earnest. "You've done enough. Let someone else carry the burden. Elena shook her head. No. This is my responsibility. My choice. Langstrom studied her for a long moment before nodding reluctantly. Just remember, you're not alone. We're all counting on you. That night, as Elena gazed at the stars through her lab window, she reflected on how far humanity had come. From ridicule to resilience, from division to determination, they had faced impossible odds and refused to give up. Now they stood on the brink of either triumph or ruin, and she would ensure they chose triumph. The final assault came without warning, a sudden, overwhelming barrage that lit up Earth's skies like a supernova. Alien fleets descended en masse, their ships blotting out the stars as they unleashed devastating orbital bombardments. Cities crumbled beneath plasma beams. Oceans boiled under thermal pulses. Entire continents were plunged into chaos as tectonic disruptions triggered by alien gravity weapons tore apart the planet's surface. Amidst the destruction, humanity fought back with everything it had. Orbital defense platforms fired torrents of energy beams powered by Gaia's resonance, targeting the largest alien vessels. On the ground, pilots clad in Gaia-enhanced mecha suits launched counterattacks, engaging enemy forces in brutal hand-to-hand combat. But despite their best efforts, the invaders' sheer numbers threatened to overwhelm them. Elena Voss watched the carnage unfold from the command center, her heart pounding as she monitored the global situation. Every strike against the aliens exacted a toll on Earth's environment. Volcanic eruptions intensified, hurricanes raged unchecked, and seismic activity destabilized entire regions. Gaia's power was immense, but it wasn't infinite. At this rate, Earth would self-destruct long before the invaders could be repelled. We can't hold them off much longer, General Marcus Kane said grimly, his voice cracking with exhaustion. If we don't turn the tide soon, it's over. Elena closed her eyes, steeling herself for what needed to be done. She turned to Raj Patel, who stood nearby, his face pale but resolute. It's time, she whispered. Raj nodded, though tears glistened in his eyes. You're sure about this? I have to be, Elena replied. For Earth. For everyone. Gaia unleashed. Elena made her way to the Heartstone chamber, accompanied by a small group of trusted allies. As she approached the crystalline artifact, its surface shimmered with an otherworldly glow, pulsing in sync with Earth's heartbeat. The air around it hummed with energy, vibrating through her very bones. She placed her hands on the containment field, feeling the familiar rush of sensations flood her mind. Images of Earth's past and present swirled before her, ancient forests, towering mountains, bustling cities. Then came the voice of Gaia, deep and resonant. Are you ready? Yes, Elena whispered. Do what must be done. With a final breath, she stepped into the containment field. The moment her skin touched the Heartstone, a surge of energy coursed through her body, lifting her off the ground. Her consciousness expanded, merging with Gaia's vast intelligence. Memories, emotions, and knowledge flooded her mind, overwhelming her senses. Outside the chamber, alarms blared as systems overloaded. The facility shook violently as raw planetary energy surged through the grid. Across the globe, people stopped mid-step, staring at the sky as storms unlike anything ever seen began to form. Hurricanes stretched thousands of kilometers wide, their winds tearing apart alien ships. Earthquakes split continents, swallowing entire fleets whole. Volcanoes erupted simultaneously, spewing ash and magma into the atmosphere, creating a fiery barrier between Earth and its attackers. Elena's physical form dissolved into pure energy, becoming one with Gaia. Her last thought was not of fear or regret, but of hope, for a future where humanity could thrive alongside the planet it called home. Humanity rises with Gaia fully awakened and Elena's sacrifice fueling its fury, Earth transformed into a living weapon. Alien ships disintegrated under relentless barrages of lightning, fire, and stone. Pilots in Gaia-powered mecha suits led daring assaults, pushing deeper into the invaders' ranks. Ground troops rallied behind them, armed with newly developed tech that harnessed localized bursts of natural energy. In space, Orbital platforms redirected solar flares toward the remaining alien fleet, frying their engines and disabling their shields. What had once been a ragtag resistance now operated with precision and purpose, driven by the unyielding will to survive. But even as victory seemed within reach, humanity faced its darkest hour. Alien commanders unleashed their ultimate weapon, a massive mothership equipped with a singularity generator capable of collapsing Earth's core. If activated, the device would render the planet uninhabitable, ensuring humanity's extinction regardless of the outcome. Against all odds, a small team of volunteers, led by General Kane and piloting prototype starships powered by Gaia's energy, mounted a desperate mission to destroy the mothership. Using cloaking technology reverse-engineered from captured alien designs, they infiltrated the vessel undetected. Inside, they fought their way through waves of enemy soldiers, battling fatigue and despair as they neared the singularity generator. At the critical moment, Kane himself planted the explosives, knowing there was no escape. As the timer counted down, he transmitted a final message to Earth. "We did our part. Now finish yours." The explosion tore through the mothership, scattering debris across the solar system. Without its leadership, the alien coalition faltered, retreating in disarray. The battle was won, but at a terrible cost. A new galactic order. When the dust settled, Earth stood battered but unbowed. Billions mourned the loss of loved ones, yet they also celebrated their hard-fought victory. News outlets dubbed the conflict the War of Wrath, honoring both humanity's resilience and Elena Voss's ultimate sacrifice. Statues were erected in her memory, depicting her standing beside a crystalline representation of the Heartstone. Across the galaxy, whispers spread of Earth's defiance. Once dismissed as primitive and insignificant, humanity was now feared and respected as a protector of life. Diplomatic envoys arrived from distant stars, seeking alliances rather than conquest. For the first time, Earth took its place among the stars as an equal, vowing to safeguard not only its own world but others facing similar threats. Gaia remained active, its presence felt in every breeze, wave, and tremor. Though Elena was gone, her spirit lived on through the entity she had become. Through Gaia, humanity learned to live in harmony with nature, repairing the damage wrought by centuries of exploitation. Forests regrew, oceans healed, and wildlife flourished once more. Legacy of Sacrifice. Years later, Dr. Raj Patel stood atop a hill overlooking a lush valley, holding a holographic image of Elena Voss. Beside him stood Victor Langstrom, who had since abandoned his corporate empire to dedicate himself to environmental restoration. "She gave everything," Raj said softly, "so we wouldn't have to." Langstrom nodded, his expression solemn. "And because of her, we have a second chance. Let's make sure we don't waste it." As the sun set behind them, casting golden light across the landscape, Raj couldn't help but feel a sense of peace. Earth had risen from the ashes of ridicule and despair to become something greater than anyone had imagined. It was no longer just a planet. It was a symbol of hope, resilience, and unity. Far above, the stars twinkled silently, watching over the blue-green world below. They no longer laughed at Earth. Instead, they trembled at its wrath and marveled at its strength.